Hi, I'm Princess interviewing Tara Lily, who explores jazz in weird, wonderful ways. Hi, Tara Lily. Um, so your music is quite soulful and melancholy. Is there any reason why you've taken your music in that direction?
Mm, I think for me, like I always like to be real. Like whenever I write a song or I work on material, for me it's about kind of letting go of things in my life that I'm holding on to, or expressing myself in the ways that I feel, which are real to me. So yeah.
You mentioned that you like to mention things that are real to you. Is it based on personal experience or
Yeah, I would definitely say personal experiences in my life, relationships, things that have gone wrong or whatever. For me, that's like music is an outlet in that sense. It's a form of expression for me. So yeah.
how did you get into music in the first place?
So both my parents were self-taught musicians. My dad played tabla and harmonium. My mum was a singer, and I grew up with like a lot of music in my house. And yeah, I started on piano when I was really young, and then I started singing a bit later to that, and then I studied music, and then yeah, I started writing my own stuff, and then yeah, here we are.
Um, you mentioned you studied music. Is there any particular reason as to why you've done things that way? Or
So I think for me, like I really wanted to completely understand music at a high level. I went to conservatoire, I went to Trinity Laban Conservatoire. It's something that I worked towards for a long time, because I felt like it was important for me to understand the music that I was making and the music that I was interested in. And I wanted to, learn about that. I've always been interested in learning about music. So yeah, I studied jazz. That was my discipline that I spent 4 years on at conservatoire, and I feel like it's really, impacted me and my career um, in great ways. That I'm classically trained, that my voice is at a level where I can kind of do what I want. I can play an instrument. So for me, these are things that I feel like are really important. If you're going to make music, it's like being able to have, being able to be in control. As a woman, it's like you want to be in control of what you make, what you produce. I don't like relying on other people as well. So for me, that was another reason that I wanted to study.
are there any musical inspirations that you listen to that influenced your musical process?
So yeah, the new EP, Last Flight Out, the stuff that I've been listening to around that is Asha Pulti, Nora Jones, Alice Coltrane, Aaliyah, Sade. These are sort of the inspirations around the project. And then yeah, Last Flight Out is about love, immigration, travel, and movement. And the music spans alternative R&B, jazz, Indian classical, dance, and more.
So you come from an Asian background, I believe.
Yeah, so my dad is Bengali, from Chittagong. So I grew up with him, playing a lot of music around me. I listened to a lot of like the traditional Bengali folk music, and also like the Bollywood songs, as like quite a young child. So that's also had an impact on me, how I see myself, how I see the world. Yeah.
And are there any instruments that you like based off your cultural background?
Yeah, there are lots of instruments like I'm very interested. Like my last project, the one that's just come out, like that, we worked with like the sitar on that. Like Akash Pareka is like a sitarist, he's like one of the best, and we worked with him on a couple of the songs. One of the Coltrane songs, and You Can Go, which is like an Afrobeat Asian kind of inspired song, and we had bits of sitar in there. So yeah, I was kind of exploring working with the sitar as well. And again, that's kind of my knowledge of jazz that I learned from conservatoire, then applying that to Hindustani and Indian classical music, and understanding how to work with different sounds. So that's something I'm interested in doing. Like all my music, I'll always try and like integrate different sounds, because that's what interests me.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool. Um, I listened to Hotel Amor,
Mm,
and it's got some really lovely bass, and me- I mean the whole instrumentation was just amazing.
mm.
Is there any particular way that you like expressing your music? So like, you wrote that song based off what exactly?
So yeah, that was the song I wrote when I was in Paris, and I had like a fallout with someone, and I basically wrote that song about my situation there, and it was very dramatic, and yeah, I kind of wanted to say something, so that's kind of where the song came from. And yeah, we actually went back to Paris and actually played the Hotel Amour recently. So that's the place that I wrote the song, and then yeah, we went back there. So that was quite fun.
When writing music, how do you do it exactly? I mean, there's so many ways, but how do
So
you?
I think for me, like I generally like to write on my own. Like I'll just be, it could be anywhere. I could be on the train and I'm just looking out the window and then I'm writing there, or I could be like in my room or at my piano. Like there are different times and places. Sometimes I'll be like coming back from like a nightclub at like 4 in the morning, and I'll be like in the Uber and I'll just like write some stuff on my phone, or I'll just record into voice notes, because at any time I can have an idea. So for me, it's like I might suddenly have an idea at like 3 in the morning and I'm out, but I'm just going to record that into my voice notes, and then, I can listen back to it later.
Where do you plan on taking your music then?
So I'm going on tour to India at the end of the end of November. So I'll be on tour there for a while, which I'm excited about. Hopefully, if all goes to plan. Um, and I've got a headline show in London on the 11th of November. So come down. That's if anyone's in London. Come to that. That'll be 11th of November at Peckham Audio. And yeah, I plan to take my music around the world, by playing shows wherever I go. That's what I'm really interested in. That's where I'd like to be. If I have any goals for the future, it would be to be able to perform around the world, not necessarily big or small venues, but just being able to get around.